welcome to another exciting Stash Report monthly compilation video. This is going to be for February of 2016. For the new subscribers, we do these videos once a month at the very beginning to let you know what you should expect to spend your money on for the month. We have a really big slate of things here, so let's plow through it as fast as we can because, well, frankly, I need to go to bed because I have to be up and go back to work. You know, you complain about not working, then you get a great job, very happy with, but boy, am I working. All right, so we have domestic releases from all three companies. We have import releases from, I would say, 3 out of the 4 major players, so quite a bit. On the domestic side of things, we have 2 kits coming out of Revell. They're going to be the Porsche 914S or 914-6 2-in-1. This is when you can build just a factory stock car or build the race car with the sort of lower windscreen type of deal. Nothing new about that kit as far as those options, the way it's always been available. This kit was supposed to come out last year, October maybe, sometime in the fall, and then it just got delayed, and finally for whatever reason, it is finally coming out this month. One can only hope that they've found something about it they didn't like and fixed, but you never could tell exactly what it just may have just been a situation where the tooling wasn't as serviceable as they had expected it to be, when they announced it in part of the quarterly releases. The other kit coming out of Revell in the month of February will be the minorly modified tooling, the 1966 Chevrolet Fleetside pickup truck. This is, of course, the continuation of the 64 and 65 tooling. The 64 is a fleet side. The 65, of course, a step side. And we'll make sure I had that right. I'm looking up there where mine are. And so this would be the 66. I don't know that there's really anything different about the pickup necessarily that can't be done with like decals or things like that. It'll be interesting to see what parts are in it as it comes to what they will carry over from the step side, because the 64 pickup, when it originally came out, was just a factory stock truck back in, it looks like a 90s Revell box. And then, of course, the step side has some custom wheels and a couple pieces of custom engine parts and stuff like that. So be interesting to see what all they offer in the 66 in terms of having a spare set of wheels or the speed parts, so to speak, for the engine. Mobius, we will get the 65 Plymouth Belvedere 1 as well as the Model King boxed 1970 Ford Custom pickup. Round 2, you've got 3 kits coming out, one out of MPC, and that is the 1969 Barracuda. This will be pretty much the same kit it's always been, except they have backdated it slightly to its original form, so there are some restored parts to the sort of 2-in-1 nature of the kit, and they're including a vintage set of mag wheels that I don't know that have ever come with the kit. I don't know if that's part of the stuff that's restored, but it was called out separately as if it was something that was entirely new. I have built one Barracuda like in my entire life, and that was back in the very, very late 80s, early 90s, right at the point where MPC was bought out by AMT Ertl. Everybody remembers that MPC boxing of the Barracuda. But don't expect anything special there. If you built that kit, you know what to expect out of it. AMT, they're doing the 57 Chevy Bel Air, what they're calling the Cindy Lewis Car Culture version. That is because it's going to have a 12-page booklet from Lucinda Lewis about car culture. Whatever. It's 160 pieces, including photo etch. So this may include, I don't know if it can include all of the parts that the new tool Bel Air has ever come with or not. It is going to become in 2 boxings, one molded in white and one molded in red. So if you're looking for a specific version of that, make sure you check the label either on the top of the box, the end caps, or flip the box over, because we always remind you, round 2 kits will have the parts runner layout on the bottom. It will say all parts except chrome and tires are molded in blah. So make sure if you want the red one, you get the red one. And if you look for the white one, you don't get the red one. Like I said, I don't expect there to be anything necessarily different about that kit. It'll be interesting, but 160 parts. I have one of the new Tool 57s. I'm not about to take it down and count the parts in it, but that may include the Street Machine parts. I don't know. It doesn't specifically say that, but 160 parts seems like more parts than the 57 Chevy comes with in the factory stock version. It's showing a factory stock version on the box top, but we can't see the end caps through Round Two's website. And the other Round 2 AMT kit will be the reissue of the American LaFrance Aero Chief. This is the fire truck, bucket truck. This will pretty much be just a straight reissue of it, the way it's always been. There were, of course, the three, ALF kits, the pumper, the ladder truck, and then the bucket truck. The one thing about this that is new is this will be the first Round 2 kit to include cartograph decal sets. It has apparently a giant decal set that's going to have legitimate city fire departments on it, as well as like a complete alphabet and numerical thing. I seem to recall I had a pumper at one point in time. I don't know whatever happened to it. I think I gave it away or sold it or something like that. It was way too much kit for the teenage me at the time. Excuse me. And I seem to recall that having several different fire departments, represented on it. So maybe it'll just be a sort of rerun of the original decal sheet, or maybe they got something new, entirely new planned. But going forward from here on out, the decals that Round 2 will be putting in the kit are supposed to be done by Cartograph universally throughout all of their kits. And that'll take us over to the foreign market. Hasegawa has one kit coming out in February, and that is going to be a reissue of their Type 2 cargo van. That's the Volkswagen panel van. And this being done as the Egg Girls Happy Valentine issue. So you're going to get some anime young ladies to plaster all over the side of your cargo van. And we have figured out with this issue, the Egg Girls thing is indeed the Egg airplane kits that Hasegawa also makes. You may have seen these if you're into kits beyond the automotive realm. You've seen they're, I think, 1/72nd scale. They're about yay big, and they're just cartoon characterizations of real airplanes with, shaped around like an egg. It's the only way I can really describe it to you if you've never seen one. Go look it up. Go Google Hasegawa egg planes. Fujimi is going to have several kits coming out in the month of February. They've got 3 1/20th scale F1 cars. They are the Ferrari 126 C2. This represents the 1982 San Marino, Long Beach, Monaco, and Belgium Grand Prix. The 1989 McLaren MP45 for the Monaco and Spain Grand Prix. And the Lotus 97T, which represents the 1985 Portugal and Belgium Grand Prix. Also, you're going to get a new version, these are reissues, all of them pretty much, of the Y31 Nissan Gloria Cedric in the V30 Turbo Brome trim. This is basically the kit that they just issued a few months ago, with a basically different set of bumpers and a slightly different trim package and different set of wheels. Also going to be reissuing the Nissan Laurel Medalist HC33. That's going to have 2 wheel choices, a factory stock, as well as a set of Longchamps. Both of those kits will come with window masks for the first time. The Pacific Racing Super GT McLaren MP412C GT3 car. Don't have any pictures of that right now, but that is essentially a anime-covered McLaren, much like the Good Smile Racing BMWs and Mercedes have been. It is a legitimate race team. It is a legitimate race car for the Super GT series. They'll be reissuing also, speaking of the Good Smile Racing, the final race specifications of the Hatsune Miku SLS AMG GT3 car. Reissue of the Volkswagen Golf 3rd Gen CL-GL. These were 2 separate kits before. They're going to combine them into the same kit for the first time. So it's basically, I think the only real difference between the two of them are wheel choices and maybe some very minor interior pieces. I'd have to really sit down with the instructions. I just know the wheels are different. And then that's going to window mask for the first time as well. And then the sort of new kit for February is the 1977 Lotus Esprit S1. This is the James Bond, The Spy Who Loves Me submarine car with a road-going chassis underneath. Expected to be curbside. There's not going to be an engine in it. It'll be more like all of the recent Fujimi kits where it's sort of kind of, chintzy. Fujimi really only seems to be putting a lot of money as far as new kit development into the Ferraris. And even you could argue the F12 really wasn't that great a kit. I mean, it's a good kit, but the seats are molded to the floor and all that nonsense. The various kits that they seem to create for the anime series or for other things have been a little weak, like the Pantera, the Datomso Pantera, as well as the Lotus Europa Special. They were both very weak kits. The Lotus Europa Special, especially when you compare it to the Tamiya kit, is a very kind of kit. I mean, it's cheap and you can't find the Tamiya ones, but if you're really looking for the best experience kind of thing. Platts, which normally does armor stuff, is doing a Pacific Racing, same thing as the Fujimi guys, different division though, for the 2015 D1 Grand Prix, and that is the drift car with the Girls und Panzer anime series attached to it. It's an S14 Sylvia, and I believe this is going to be, the more I look at it, a rebox of the Aoshima kit with some new decals released by Platts. I don't believe it is a new car, new tooling per se. Platts, I don't think, has ever made a car, at least not that I can find. Of course, I haven't really looked that hard, but you know what I'm saying. It's not one of those things where you're just like, oh yeah, Platts, they make all sorts of, no, they're usually armor kind of stuff. And the only D1 Grand Prix car I can think of off the top of my head is just the Aoshima one, so we'll see what that is when it comes out, but that is my bet. I think if there was going to be a brand new tooled S14 drift car, you would have heard something about it just in the, in chatter, and there has not been any of that. Aoshima has a very long slate of things here. The two sort of new kits, if you want to call it that, for the month of February, and these are just reissues, but they're sort of spacing them out to make them sound new, is the Suzuki Cappuccino and Honda Beat 25th anniversary kits. I don't know exactly what about them is going to be 25th anniversary. We covered this when we heard about it back in January, that they haven't made the car since like 1997, 1998, so it's not like there's a long history of these cars. They only were made for about 5 or 6 years. It is a 25th anniversary of both of the cars being released onto the market, however. They are both going to be offered in bone factory stock versions, primarily shown on the box art, and that is the first time that the Honda Beat has been in a factory stock, bone factory stock conversion, or variation now, probably for at least 6 or 7 years, maybe even longer. They did a few versions of the Suzuki Cappuccino. There's a couple of tuner versions plus the initial D version. The initial D version was the factory stock version. I mean, it was lurking in there. You just, you didn't put the racing hoop, the racing hoop roll bar type thing behind the seats, and you didn't put the front bumper cover on. You had a factory stock Suzuki Cappuccino in there. The Honda Beat has only been available as what they call the RS Mach, which is a tuner version of it. However, they did do several versions of it, 2 different factory stock versions. One had photo etch, one didn't. A Mugen version, as well as a R-Tune, R-Style, I think is what they call that series. There's like S-Style and R-Style. I think it was the R-Style, but that was also a sort of tunerized version of it. So, many versions of the Honda Beat, but like I said, this will be the first time it's been available with this factory stock steel wheels and everything for quite a while. There is something in the translation that is completely lost about what else these two kits are going to have in it, because this is like an additional parts, and it just sort of trails off into nothing. So I don't know if they're going to have more than one variation in there. The sort of like the Aoshima Daihatsu Koppen Active Top kit also came with like the export parts and the 10th anniversary parts and something else in there. You could build one of 4 different versions of that one kit when it came out for when it was released early last year, so we'll see. Going to be doing the 19-inch wheel sets of the Volk Racing TE37 pre-painted in white, the Volk Racing CE28Ns pre-painted in titanium silver, and the Racing Heart Type CRs pre-painted in gunmetal. Reissues of the Nissan Cedric 330, that's a Best Car Vintage kit, a reissue of the Nissan Cedric Y30, which is the generation before the Fujimi kit that's also being reissued this month. Turbo Brougham, again a Best Car Vintage. The 82 Nissan Skyline Super Silhouette race car, also Best Car Vintage kit basically. The Toyota Hilux Double Cab Lift Up, this is the quad cab Toyota pickup truck with the jacked up monster truck suspension. Going to be reissuing the kit Season 1 and Season 4 cars, of course Kit the TV show, Knight Rider. Reissue of the 91 Nissan Terrano R3M, that is the Pathfinder here in the United States, and reissue of the 91 Hilux Surf, which is the Forerunner here in the United States. The last several reissues of this kit have carried the left-hand drive components, windshield wipers, dashboards, everything you need to make those two into U.S. spec cars. However, they have not included the Pathfinder and Forerunner decals. The only ones that have ever had those in them that I'm aware of are the American Satco import versions that also included the Mitsubishi Pajero, which was done as the Mitsubishi Montero for our market here. Four more wheel sets: the Club Linea L56G, the Warfin GT03, the Veranza F2S, and the Leon Hardrit Bugle. Those are all 20-inch VIP wheel sets, including we're going to be doing some more parts here. It looks like, yes, photo etch for the Aventador, Countach LP400, and Murcielago Super Veloce. All of those, of course, Lamborghinis. Reissue of the London Black Cab, the infamous not 124 scale kit. It's more like 1/22nd scale. It's an old IME tooling. Be aware that it's not 124 scale. Be aware that it's an old kit. You know, Aoshima reissues it like once a year, and then Revell Germany reissued it as well. So it floats around a lot, but know that it's not really 124 scale. It's much bigger than that. Reissue of the Toyota Hilux Lowrider, that is a 1980s Toyota Hilux, and the Datsun 720 Cow Look, which is also a lowrider style pickup truck with surfboards. These are sort of the inverse opposite of the kits that just came out this past month, where it was the Datsun as the lowrider and the Hilux as the Cow Look. Reissue of the Subaru BRZ with the engine. So this is the first time I believe that the 86 BRZ with the engine kits are being reissued. I don't think they've been reissued since they came out. They're also going to be reissuing the Lamborghini Countach LP400 itself, so you can get the photo etch and the kit. Reissuing the that kit already came out. No, right, I scribbled that off. The Initial D RX-7. This is the Takahashi Ryusuke kit, and the 1970 Nissan Skyline 4-door 2000 GT. Another one of the best car vintage kits. When it comes to a 4-door Skyline, unfortunately, for whatever reason, nobody's ever made a real chassis to one. The Fujimi one is moderately better. It's not a very detailed kit. It's very low parts content, actually, but it's not quite as bad in the sense of it doesn't have a battery box and it doesn't quite have all of the motorized stuff still inside of it. And that, guys, I believe is that for the month of February. We'll be back on Friday with our regular show. We have Aoshima's spot runs for the month of March to talk about. We may get Fujimi's as well, only because Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year, if they call it, is coming up here at the end of the week through the middle of next week. So it'll be interesting to see if the reissues are announced early ahead of those things, because they'll know what they can get out in the limited time that the factories in China will be up for the people that get stuff manufactured there. I think that's about it. One little housekeeping before we go. I know a lot of people were interested in it because I had some people ask me on here and off of here. The USA, the Bruce Larson, I don't know what the heck the thing, I want to say USA 1, but I don't think that's actually the thing. The Chevy Vega drag car. That was supposed to be coming out this year, in the second half of 2016. Originally, it was supposed to come out in February, and then it sort of got booted back a little bit more. We have heard from Round 2 on that due to tooling, budgetary constraints, and difficulty backdating the kit to make it into that model kit, that it may not actually come out until next year, 2017 now. I don't know anything more beyond that, exactly why or how or what, but, that is sort of what it is. I know a lot of people, like I said, were looking forward to that. Sorry to break the bad news, but it looks like you are not going to get that one this year. Maybe they'll pull something out of their hat, or something else they have planned is not quite as bad tooling budget-wise, and they can squeeze it in, but that is directly from Round 2. That is not just some random speculation. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I would say there's things rattling around in my head, but there's stuff that needs to go with Friday stuff and not clutter up this video. So, anyway, we hope you enjoyed it. Pick off a few nice things for yourself for Valentine's Day. No? Spend some money on your wife so she doesn't notice all this stuff behind you. All right, guys. We'll see you on the other side.